What's up everyone, it's Anna, also known as that Star Wars girl, and today I am going to be talking about Marin Scorsese. Now, he was doing an interview because he has a new movie coming out on Netflix, and during this interview he was asked about Marvel movies and the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what he thought about them. And his answer has caused a lot of controversy, so let's take a look at what he said. I don't see them. I tried, but that's not cinema. Honestly, the closest I can think of them, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being. So right off the bat, he completely admits to not actually watching all of these movies and making just a fast judgment on them because he just sees them as a fast money grab for Marvel for theme parks. But what I don't think Marin Scorsese understands, and it's something that, he should understand, and he should, as a creator himself, he should know that if you're going to judge something, you should watch it all the way through before you go and make declarations like this. Now, him just watching whatever, I don't know which films he watched, but just going off of this, I'm assuming he watched them when they first, started coming out 10 years ago, and so he hasn't gone through all this. He hasn't watched every single one. He hasn't seen the characters evolve. Iron Man is a very different person from the first Iron Man movie to Avengers Endgame. Very, very different, because guess what? He evolved over time. You can see that in Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Avengers, Civil War, all the stuff that Iron Man goes through. He is a changed person. Heck, he evolves in the first Iron Man movie, but still, more stuff happened. And if you don't watch these movies, you're not going to see it. If you just watch the first Iron Man movie and then go into Endgame, you're not going to understand, all the depth and dynamic that are there between those characters that have bonded over all of these movies in this universe, because that is one of the beautiful things that Marvel did, was it took something and it said, okay, here's this movie, here's this character, here's this one, and then here's this one, and then you see how they all come together. And I think that was one of the most amazing phenomena that I was ever able to experience, was when, the whole world came together to go watch the first Avengers movie. And I remember feeling the excitement in the theater, and we're finally going to get to see this. You want to tell me that that doesn't, convey an emotional response from the audience? You want to say that that's just a money grab? Yeah, it made money, but guess what? It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, finally getting to see all those characters together and to be in an environment full of people feeling that excitement, feeling that energy. And Marin Scorsese is just up on his high horse of, Hollywood elitist entitlement, where he's like, oh, well, my films do this and that, and I did these films, and no, they're not money grabbers, they're conveying emotions, and they're doing all of this, they're breaking, these walls and whatnot. And it's like, okay, I'm 100% biased. I cannot stand Marin Scorsese films. I can't stand them. I don't like anything about them. I don't think he's a good director at all. But I understand some people like those movies. It's just my own taste. When I watch his movies, I'm uncomfortable. I don't like any of the characters. I do not connect with any of the characters. I do not care about any of the characters. Even when, in Gangs of New York, when, the little kid that grows up to Leonardo DiCaprio, when the little kid sees his father die, I feel bad. It's not the kid's fault that his dad decided to be stupid and go, instead of being a responsible, father, go fight in a gang and, get killed. The rest of the movie, I don't care, because then Leo decides to go do the same exact thing and get stabbed how many ever times. I'm not sympathetic to any of the characters. I'm not interested in any of that. If you're going to go live a life of crime and, you don't think that you deserve any of the consequences that comes with it, I'm not sympathetic to you at all. If it was, a redemption type story, maybe, but still. And I remember every single time somebody was getting me hyped about watching a Marin Scorsese, and I'm like, Anna, I remember the first one I ever watched was Goodfellas, and my friend, she was so excited. She's like, Anna, this is the best movie ever, you're gonna love it. And it was Goodfellas. Those hours of my life I'm never gonna get back. I hated every single second of that movie. I hated every single character. It made me uncomfortable. The entire movie, I was just like, is this ever going to end? And then it did, and I was like, hours of my life I'm not gonna get back. Then, Gangs of New York, again, I got I was hyped up for it because, you know, I found out, oh, it's this great story. Daniel Day-Lewis is in it. Leonardo DiCaprio is in it. Liam Neeson's in it. Cameron Diaz is in it. All-star cast. It's supposed to be really good. I watched it. Hours of my life I'm not going to get back. And again, I'm just kind of biased. Once I found out that all of these movies that everyone kept telling me were these great movies, and then I found out, oh, they're all directed by the same person. That's why, you know, and the way that he shoots them, and it makes me uncomfortable. There's something about his style of storytelling I just can't stand. I don't like him. Or I'm not saying I don't like him as a person. I don't like the way that he creates art. I just don't like it. It's not my thing. If I'm going to watch a movie about crime, and you can tell a really compelling story about somebody that has committed a crime and do it well and do it good, that will captivate my attention. One of, you know, the best examples I can use is A Time to Kill. Again, all-star cast, great freaking movie. Samuel Jackson, he committed a crime, but guess what? I'm sympathetic to him as a character and the things that he's going through in that movie. Martin Scorsese movies? No, nothing about them to me is redeemable. There's nothing about the characters in the movies that I've seen that make me sympathetic to them. Heck, even when I remember my grandmother, she was so excited because Silence was coming out. It's a movie about Portuguese people. Family's Portuguese, really big Portuguese. I'm from a big Portuguese community. When something comes out about our people, we get excited. And they're like, oh, it's a movie. It's not about Ronaldo, but it's about something else. Oh, yay. Then I found out Martin Scorsese was directing. I was like, oh, God, it's going to be awful. And, gee, does anyone hear about Silence? Nope, guess it's Martin Scorsese. So I'm not a fan of him in the slightest. But the way that he talks about this, it's like, come on, Martin Scorsese, you should know better. You should understand that if you're going to judge something, do your research. Go and watch the films instead of just, you know, automatically blacklisting it. I know I don't like Martin Scorsese films because every single one that I've seen, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like the characters, and I wouldn't have formed an opinion of him if I didn't watch the movies. And it makes me, you know, yeah, I don't want to watch any more of his movies. I will if somebody tells me that they're good. Like my friend Cecil was telling me, he's like, Annie, you gotta watch this movie because it's gonna have to do with the Joker. It's called King of Comedy. Go watch that movie. I watched it. I will say I enjoyed that fundamentally more than any of the other Martin Scorsese movies that I watched, but still, I didn't like it. I felt like the ending fell short. This is something that, you know, I did wish that there was a little bit more to, you know, show the character after everything that happened, but still, the way that he directs people, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like the way that they have those arguments and the way that the dialogue is. Whereas something like Marvel, he says they're not allowed to, he says they can't connect to the audience. But when I watch Iron Man's journey, I watch this guy that's a spoiled, rotten douchebag, and you watch him evolve into, you know, a man. You see that evolution of Iron Man, and then you have characters like Cap and Bucky, and you get to see that friendship. And I'm a sucker. I love movies about friendship. Those are always my favorite. So even though the Captain America movies are not my favorite, when I see just the lengths that Cap will go to, you know, prove to the world that Bucky is still a good person, even though Bucky was, you know, taken by Hydra and, you know, became the Winter Soldier and all that, Cap will put everything on the line to protect Bucky and to defend Bucky. And I love that. You say that that doesn't leave like an emotional connection for the audience. Who the hell are you to go out there and say that I'm not allowed to have an emotional connection with something just because it's a movie about superheroes? I can still love it. I can still connect with these characters. It doesn't matter that they have superhuman strength, that they have superhuman, you know, intelligence, that they have superpowers. I can still connect with them on an emotional level because they go through real human things. Everyone on the face of the planet has had somebody that they've cared about, that they want to, you know, help, and they will go to whatever lengths to help them. Everyone has to, go go through those own battles within themselves. Yeah, you know what? We are all human. Not every single person is perfect. No one is perfect in this world, and we all have our own demons that we have to overcome. And you get to see that. Obviously, it's, you know, in a fantastical way because these are superheroes, but you're saying that we can't connect to that and that it's not cinema because it doesn't meet your standards? Well, Martin Scorsese, I'm sorry, but I don't even, you know, take your standards seriously because I have not enjoyed a single one of your films. And for you to be on your elitist high horse, it's like, well, how much money have your movies made? And I know that, you know, that is, you know, a kind of a cop-out there, but when you look at everything that they have done, if they didn't have a master plan, if these characters weren't, you know, able to connect with audiences, if we weren't able to have those emotional responses from these characters, it wouldn't be successful. Marvel wouldn't be, you know, making billions of dollars. But guess what? They were smart about it. Kevin Feige was smart with his master plan that he set up. And yeah, the actors did do a good job. You want to say that they didn't have much to work with? They had so much to work with. You can go back and look at all the comics, even though, yes, these aren't completely, you know, 100% true to the comics. They're roughly based on these ideas. But look at what they had to work with. There's so much there. And just to write it off because you have this, you know, Hollywood elitist to you, it's very, you know, very ignorant. And for coming from somebody like him, I think that he would have known better, but apparently he doesn't. And, you know, this just adds to another, you know, brick to the wall as far as, you know, another thing that I was like, oh, yeah, another reason why I don't like Martin Scorsese. And, you know, everyone can get mad at me every time I express my opinion on that. People do get angry with me. I don't like his movies, and I love, you know, movies that were coming around the same time as him. I love movies about crime. I love when you get down and dirty with, you know, just the raw human emotion and, you know, the things that people go through and, you know, those inner battles, like when you go with like man versus society or, you know, man versus himself or man versus man, when you go with those themes, I love that. I don't need the action. Usually the action scenes in superhero films are the ones where I do get kind of bored. The first time you see it, it's cool. After you've watched it a few times, it's like, okay, it's old. You know, when does it get to the good part? I love movies that are, you know, very heavily dialogue based, when you have to, you know, overcome those obstacles and it's, you know, one person having a conversation with another and they're trying to break each other down because one person has this goal and it, you know, you have to go through this person to get to your goal. And stuff like that I find absolutely fascinating, which is why, you know, everyone that, you know, has pitched me, Anna, you gotta watch this movie, you know, a Martin Scorsese movie, and then I watch it and I can't stand it because I don't like his takes on things. I don't like the way that he tells stories. It's just my own personal opinion. It's my own personal bias. It's like some people like the color blue, some people like the color red, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with either of them. It's just people have their preferences, and I personally prefer any other director as compared to Martin Scorsese. So that's just my own personal opinion on it. I just don't like it. But, you know, with off on that tangent, I honestly think that if he's going to make a really fast judgment call on this, he needs to do his research and actually watch all the movies, because he would understand why it's such a global phenomenon if he would have actually watched all the movies through. And so he would understand that Tony Stark is a very different person, and after his evolution throughout all of the MCU to Endgame, why his death had that big of an impact that it did, and why that is, you know, the most redeeming quality in that film, because of that emotion that is portrayed when Tony Stark dies, because everyone was united behind Tony Stark, and when he dies, it, you know, just takes your heart and it rips it to pieces. And yes, it conveys freaking emotion, and it, you know, connects with the audience, and we relate to the characters in that moment. Doesn't matter that they're superheroes. So, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's my 2 cents on that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay too. And until next time, everyone, have a great rest of your day, and may the Force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone. What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and I have an Etsy store, so if you've ever wanted to own a print of my artwork, this is the place to go. As you can see, I have a lot of recognizable characters, from horror films to heroes to Star Wars characters. Some of the notable characters I have on here are Darth Vader, which I did a couple live streams painting, so you can own a print of this painting. I also have Luke Skywalker, the binary sunset version, one of my favorite scenes in the original New Hope movie. I have Darth Maul, which Ray Parks himself actually complimented me on Instagram. And then last but certainly not least, Ahsoka Tano. So if you want to own any of these prints, go right on over to my Etsy store. Again, that's The Art of Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. What's up, everyone? I have a P.O. box, so if you want to send me some mail, go ahead and send it to Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short, at P.O. Box number 28171, Santa Ana, California, 927998171. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.